Hello, everybody. Good evening. Welcome to episode 35 of the British Hive Mind, our planned episode where we're going to be speaking, hopefully, with Mark Steele with regards to the 5G rollout and Caroline Stevens as well, all with regards to the 5G rollout. Now, I know it's been a very emotional day for us all. We've all been quite tied up with what's happened earlier on this morning and earlier on today regarding Tommy Robinson. What an injustice that is. But I know there's other people out there that have been doing shows, been doing live streams, and there's currently people doing shows upon the topic at the moment. So we're going to put a pin in that for the moment, and we'll get back to it another time, or maybe a bit later. We'll get back to it because it's a big issue. But as I said, as I planned, tonight's show, this episode is going to be about 5G, the 5G rollout, the dangers it imposes upon us all, and some of the hard scientific facts behind it. Hopefully, he's not into the room yet, but hopefully Mark Steele will be joining us, and we'll be able to get his views and get his opinions and his research and what he's found with regards to the 5G and the 5G rollout. Because from what I see, what I've researched, it is a very dangerous technology. Not only have we seen the scientific tests and the scientific studies upon mice and pigs raising cancer rates, heart cancer especially, through the roof. It's also got a lot more nefarious sides to it as well. So hopefully we'll be able to get the special guests on, and hopefully we'll be able to discuss this in a lot more detail. But my main co-presenter, I'm sure he's on the symposium with Vinny, the reality reports, Alexander, and all those, discussing the heated topic of the day, which is the arrest and the sentencing of our fellow patriot, Tommy Robinson. Yeah, well, Caroline's in the room, but she's muted and muted and not listening at the moment. So, yeah, it's been a mad day, absolute mad day. I've been hooked on Facebook, looking at Facebook feeds, spreading the word, spreading the news. I've even spread it onto my personal account as well, because this is way beyond what happened with the lady who got arrested in her own home, well, dragged out of her own home, with regards to the incident in, I believe it was with regards to the incident in Hyde Park, but then I hear other terminology that it was because she said she actually told someone to have a gay day. And and I remember a time when gay meant happy and happy meant gay. So, there's no more straws left. The final straw has gone. The final straw has gone, and we need to actually stand up. We need to make our voices heard, and we need to bring about the changes that need to be made. But as I said, this episode is what I plan to be the 5G rollout episode, hoping that we could get Mark Steele on the show, and hopefully we could get his expertise on the subject and the matter. But he's not in the room at the moment. I've sent him a few messages through Discord. Hopefully he'll be able to jump on. He was having a bit of tech issues, as a lot of people do with Discord. It's not the easiest of apps to use and get your head around. But once you get into it, once you get involved with it, it becomes a very prominent tool, a very good tool to use, because it's a lot more protected than Facebook, a lot more protected than YouTube, a lot more protected than even just sending normal messages to people. It's a great app, and I do suggest and recommend it to everyone and anyone. And if you do want to get in touch with us and get involved with us, the best way is to get in touch through Discord. So Whew. Yeah, the 5G rollout. They're rolling it out now. They're putting the technology in place now. From what I understand, they want it to be, free Tommy. Free Tommy. From what I understand, they want it to be pretty much on every street corner, on every lamppost, on every street corner, so they can track and monitor everyone and everything through the 5G network. Now, I've heard some confusion when it comes to the G and what the G means. The 5G, G does not stand for gigahertz. G stands for generation. It is the 5th generation of mobile technology. Now, mobile technology has evolved through 1 to 4G using the same sort of electromagnetic frequencies and the same sort of electromagnetic technologies. Now, with the 5G, it is a completely new, completely separate entity. We have to understand that. It's not, you got 1G, 2G, 3G, 4G, and then 5G is right over at the other end, right far away. It's really mobile phone signals, mobile phone network on steroids. It is extraordinarily powerful. And from what I see and what I believe, it's totally unnecessary. We don't need it. 4G, the 4th generation, is good enough. You can go out, you can do a live stream in the middle of a field if you want, and you'll still get decent enough reception to go live. It's not going to... 5G is not going to be this miracle where we're all connected. Well, yeah, it's going to be spun as a miracle where we're all connected all of the time and we've got great signal and great signal strength, so you can download a movie on the go and stuff like that. They're going to spin it like that to try to convince the public that it's a good thing, when truly it isn't. It's military grade technology. It is military grade spying equipment really being turned into a form of mobile signal. I was hoping Mark would be able to describe the fact that it can be used like electromagnetic frequency sonar. So yes, it can go through thick concrete walls and it can see the inside of your house through through the reflections of the rays and through the signals. It can see you. It can monitor you. It's a push towards what the globalists want, which is the Internet of Things, the Internet of everything, where everything is connected all of the time. You will walk down the street, and in between the lampposts, they will know exactly where you are in between those lampposts. They will know if you come into contact with someone else. They will be able to, because we all have mobile phones. We all have this tracking system pretty much on us all of the time. And now it's evolved into a perfect tracking tool for them. So every single phone has a microphone on it. Almost every single phone has got a front-facing and rear-facing camera on it. And now, if they are, like we know, through the Intel chipset, they are fully hackable by the government. The government can access your phone like that if they want to, if they choose to. They can access your camera as and when they want. They can access your microphone as and when they want. And you'll see it with all of the apps, WhatsApp, Facebook, all of the apps. They will even frigging clock or alarm clock apps will ask if it can use your microphone, and it ask if it can use your camera at any time. This is data gathering on a mass scale. So not only can they access the hardware on your phone and the software on your phone, including all of your contacts, all of your images, all of your videos, everything that's there on your phone, they can also use it to fully track you as well. So they will be able to see exactly where you are in between the two lampposts. They will be able to not only see you, but they'll be able to see your friend approaching you and talking to you and being there with you. And so they will be able to track and see everyone you bump into, everyone you meet, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, as when you've got your mobile phone on you. This is spy technology on steroids. This is something that can and will, almost definitely will, be used to track and monitor everyone. Now, people like myself, people like Tommy Robinson, people that are getting out there telling the truth and breaking away from the media narrative, we will be targeted. It's a fact. We will be targeted. We will be tracked. We will be monitored. They will want to know everywhere we go, everyone we bump into, every picture we take, every word that we say, every phone call we make, every message we send. They want access to that information. And with this new privacy data GDRP, I think that's the acronym for it, GDRP sort of law that they brought into place, they want to centralize all of this information. Yes, a central information agency. Yes. So it will all go to one place, one core site, and then they'll sell it like it's a good thing. Like, oh well, all of your information that we've got on you on Facebook. Well, if you want that information and then you want to put it onto a different platform, you can do that if you like, because it's all there in the central hub. So you'll be able to take it, copy and paste it into anywhere you want. But they'll have access to that central hub. They'll have access, so they'll be able to copy and paste it and put it anywhere they want. We can see the dystopian future on the horizon, and we can just see that horizon creeping closer and closer and closer. We are seeing more of the intrusion of the police state. The police state is here. If people are getting arrested, locked up, and sentenced in a day for reporting the news, this is scary. Yeah, you're right. This is a scary, scary time. But we need not fear. We need not fear at all. We are the many. They are the few. We are the people. We choose what happens to us. As long as we get together, as long as we stick together, as long as we make our voices heard. Because our voices will fall upon deaf ears. One man's voice will fall upon deaf ears. Two man's voices will fall upon deaf ears. Two men, a woman, and a child's voice will fall on deaf ears. 1,000 people, 2,000, 10,000, 50,000, 1,000,000 people's voices all chanting together cannot be ignored. They will hear us. They will have to hear us. And I see the internet now, and social media now being lit up with Tommy Robinson. Everybody's on it. Everybody's getting on it. Everybody is feeling violated, feeling angry, feeling many, many emotions with regards to what's just happened to Tommy Robinson today. And it's understandable. I've felt this. I felt gutted today. Absolutely gutted. I woke up and I put it on and I watched the Tommy Robinson video live streaming, and it was a good video. I was enjoying it. It was stirring up the feelings of injustice, the feelings of the police failures, the feeling of betrayal. which they are, which they don't want us to know. They don't want us to know about this, the deep state. And you can see when he reached 10,000 viewers live, the effect that man has. They are scared of him. Let's just read these comments here. It's a report in the news. He's supposed to be a sovereign individual. We are all supposed to be sovereign individuals, but our rights and our sovereignty have been stripped away from us little by little by little, under the radar, without telling us, without informing us, without showing it to us in any way, shape or form. They've been hacking away at our rights. And now we are seeing it. 10,000 people saw it live. Hundreds of thousands have seen it now. If not millions have seen it. Yeah. Because Tommy was there doing his job. He's a reporter. He's a journalist. He was there reporting on a very, very important news story. We're talking about some disgusting people doing disgusting things to innocent people, to innocent children, innocent young girls. And if that doesn't stir up emotion, you're a chuffing robot. Yeah, so, to bring it back to subject, to bring it back on point, the 5G rollout. I did a couple of little videos the day before yesterday when it was nice and sunny. I went out and I looked at some of these cell towers, these mobile phone towers. I had a quick look at them. You know, I couldn't really get too close, and I couldn't get up and close and personal with the big rectangular antenna things on top. And I don't know too much about them because, well, that's not my forte. 5G rollout is not really my forte, but I know I've done a little bit of research on it, and I've seen the scientific studies, and I've seen that it causes cancer. At best. At best. These microwave signals cause cancer, an alarming rate of cancer. Oh, yeah, I know, Thomas. We've only just started to wake up to it. Some people knew about it quite some time ago, and well, a lot of scientific studies have shown that even 3G and 4G have caused a spike in cancer levels. But this 5G is a whole separate technology. This is multi-phase. This is microwave, millimeter wave, multi-phased arrays that it takes 4G and times it by 100, the power that it causes and the power that it pumps out. Not only that, I've seen studies in America and some American reporters that have reported that it can fry a whole town in America. Some of the towers that they've got there, huge towers with 40, 50 separate antennas, these huge rectangular boxes pumped onto the top of them, loads of them, draining huge amounts of power. And if they flick them on all at the same time, all at the same frequency to vibrate water, because that's what your microwave does. That's what the microwave frequency is. It's a frequency that resonates with water molecules and makes water molecules vibrate. And when these water molecules vibrate, that produces heat, because a water molecule vibrating, or any molecule vibrating, that's what heat is. That's what it is, the molecule vibrating. And if they resonate it from full power out from these towers, that can microwave an entire town in its sleep. So whilst you're asleep, they flick it on, turn it up to maximum power, and a radius of maybe 2 or 3 kilometers, maybe more. I've not seen the full statistics of it, but a wide range. All of the water molecules in that area can be caused to vibrate, and you can be cooked from the inside out by using this 5G technology. Who's next? We all need to stand together. Yeah, and that's it on a mass, on a broad scale. But we're not really doing that so much here in the UK. We don't have these massive towers here in the UK. We have little individual boxes, little ones that are set up on lampposts, and then they can be used directly. A direct beam, if you will, of microwave. So not only will it be able to see you sleeping in your bed by pulsing out the signal, it will be able to then focus a beam signal into you, in through your house, through your walls, and make the water molecules vibrate. Right, I'm gonna have to check my phone. Check this. Right. Right. So where are we? Is it in this one? No, it's not in this one. I'm sure Caroline's trying to get in touch with me. Yeah, sorry for the husky voice. I've got a bit of a bad chest at the moment. I think it's chemtrail lung. Right, let's let her know we are live. See, I can't. I'm having to say we're live now. So hopefully Carol will be joining us now. Yeah, so bit distracted there, a little bit distracted. So let's have a little look. I haven't got a Tesco tinfoil. Yeah, I should actually. You know, that'd be quite funny if I covered my cap in tinfoil. Yeah, but then I'd be a proper tinfoil hat wearer then, wouldn't I? But the research is there, the studies are there, the information is out there. And I know I can only point you towards the rabbit hole. I can't make you go down it. I haven't got all the paperwork and I haven't got the technologies here to bring up all of these episodes and all of these things. Right, got a bit of echo there. Caroline, can you hear me?
I can. Do you want me to mute myself?
I think everything should be all right. If you...
So is that David?
Yeah, it's David Wolf. Yeah. Sorry.
Have you got Mark on already or not yet?
No, he's not. I've sent him a message. I've tried to get in touch with him, but he's not replied and he's not joined. I told him.
Oh, I wonder if it's because he's forgotten. Do you think he's forgotten?
I don't know. It was only a couple of days ago when I told him about it, when I mentioned it to him, when I set up the show, and I made sure that I did tell him that it would be Friday at 8 o'clock. And I've sent him a few messages through Discord, but I don't really have any other way to get hold of him.
Oh, right. Should I send him a text?
If you've got his mobile number, that would be excellent.
Okay, I'll go and get it now.
Oh, cheers. Thank you very much. You're a star. Because, yeah, Mark's the one with a lot of the knowledge about it. He's got a lot of the experience as well. And I'm speaking a little bit off cuff here, because I was hoping to, ask him the questions so then he could give me the factual answers instead of me just making things up as kind as I got of what the little research I've been able to do as I go along.
Are you on about 5G?
Yeah, the 5G rollout. The fact that
did you see the video that I interviewed Mark Steel last weekend?
I'm not 100% sure if I saw that one.
Oh, okay. Yeah. It was an hour long.
Mm.
He was basically saying how bad smart meters are.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we started the interview talking about how veterans, when they leave the battlefield, having used particular types of weapons and suffering from PTSD, and return home, and how smart meters, which are installed in their houses, can really, really impact them negatively. You know, their health really suffers.
Yeah.
Because, for example, you know, the waves will affect pins that the veterans have in their bodies.
Yeah, through the resonating frequency, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. And a lot of the people that have been in the army and left the army have got PTSD because of the brain damage this technology has caused them. And that's where a lot of the depression and PTSD comes from. I was hoping.
And of course, it was only a week or so ago when that MP Johnny Mercer had suggested that a lot of veterans make the mental illness worse than what it really is to get benefits. Remember that, David?
I haven't seen that one, but that makes me feel sick.
Yes.
That's disgusting. And with the whole issues around mental health at the moment, you know, I myself have suffered from an acquired brain injury and suffered from post-traumatic stress.
Do you mind me asking how you got yours?
I was attacked.
Gosh.
Attacked and mugged, and my brain was damaged, and I've lost my sense of smell. So I'm now anosmic. And I used to be a chef. Imagine a chef now that can't smell or taste. Quite traumatic.
Do you say that if you lose some of your senses, the other senses make up, or is that not?
No, sadly, no. I think if it comes from birth, then maybe it does, because your body adapts and evolves when you're growing to focus more on the other senses. But if it gets taken away from you, your body doesn't just shift into a new higher gear. I'm a DJ.
So did you retrain? Did you do something else?
Yeah, I retrained as a salesman. And tried to,
what did you sell?
Holidays, cars, internet.
Right.
I sold internet for a while. Yeah. But it's.
And you're based up in Manchester?
Around Manchester. I'm based in Blackburn.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. It's not a nice place. Not a nice place at all. I'd love to move away, but the financial situation isn't too good around here.
Well, I think it's quite hard to get certain jobs, isn't it, in your area? I mean, the EU has exacerbated the problems with jobs, for sure, in certain areas.
Well, Lancashire was the cotton capital of the world. And there's no cotton mills anymore. There's no mills, there's no factories, there's no industry around here anymore. There's only coffee shops and light industrial estates and shops and retail and office work. There's nothing really substantial. We've got BAE Systems, the big military and industrial complex down the road, but they're firing people left, right, and centre. I think it might have been last year, 2,500 people lost their jobs. So,
well, of course, as companies get bigger and they're taken over and they're just having one personnel department or what have you, and as they become more international, the personnel department could be moved into, you know, France or Germany, and you know, it's easy for big companies to move their employees around, and you know, Britain could be just removed. I mean, when Ford Motor Company was given a grant from the EU, they relocated to Turkey, didn't they?
Yeah.
So all those workers on the factory floor effectively lost their jobs.
That they did. Well, it's happened with
a
a
lot
lot.
of these companies, like Twinings, I think, when they relocated to Poland, the people were going over to Poland, training the staff up, and then they would lose their jobs in the UK.
Yeah, training your replacement.
Yes, yeah. How awful is that?
Well, that's it. And the thing is, the wages out there are so low, it compensates for the transportation costs.
Yeah.
So it as a you know, a staunch business person, it makes more sense to ship your manufacturing abroad, but keep your customer base at home.
Yeah, for sure.
And
well, you're a common law constitutionalist person, aren't you, David?
Yeah. I believe in common law. I believe in the Constitution. I believe that is the key to saving our nation.
Yeah, I was watching Graham Moore speak about it tonight.
Oh,
obviously you've seen the video from earlier on. I just popped down to London and was able to interview him for an hour. Well, it was more of a chat, really. And it was just interesting to. I know for some people an hour might be a long time, or 47 minutes or something is a long time. But it felt so right to get everything laid out from the start of Magna Carta, because there's been a lot of people on Daily Brexit show who've come on and said, oh no, that's not the right Magna Carta, and this, that and the other. So it was great to hear Graham reiterate that the 1215 Magna Carta is still valid, cannot be removed. And, you know, he was talking tonight about the Tommy Robinson situation.
Yeah,
and it's all quite linked in with that Wednesday show, because I'd said to him, what shall we do anyway? And he said, get yourself down to Windsor Castle every weekend and petition the Queen.
Yeah.
And I think that's, you know, I think we need to be doing that. I mean, I know there's a lot of heat on Facebook at the moment about Tommy Robinson.
Yeah.
And sometimes it gets so heated that people can't always assess all the facts. Not everybody has all the facts to hand. And I think this is where it's going to be very easy for us to end up in a very difficult situation on the streets if we're not careful. I think we need to take a deep breath.
Yes.
And just think that, you know, these matters come up along to distract. But yet we still need to be focused on what the government is actually doing to all of us, not just one or two people, or not just to certain parts of society. The fact is that, you know, we were going to talk about 5G tonight with the expert Mark, and I cannot profess to be an expert. But what I can gather is I've only had a couple of people that have come back to me and said, Caroline, you're mad. This is not happening. This cannot happen. And I am a BENG. You know, they give me all their qualifications. Only people who ever disputed me were ones that had like engineering qualifications.
Yeah.
So I said, but have you seen Mark Steele's reports that he's been involved with or seen? And they refuse point blank to look and read all the evidence that Mark has circulated. So, you know, it's some people will shoot at the hip and refuse to think outside the box. If you think about 5G, we're having was it 500,000 trees cut down in Sheffield to make way 5G. In Gateshead, where Mark is based, they've got 31,500 towers, and on top of all the lampposts, all the lights, there's an antennae. But of course, don't know about where you live, but a lot of lampposts are outside people's bedroom windows.
Yes.
So the proximity to the human body, if you like, 24/7 in their houses. You're going to be on lockdown, aren't you? How are you going to escape from all these rays? And it can take 15, 20 years for the impact to actually work its way through the body. We'll end up with, you know, there's blindness on the cards, you know, tumours, cancer.
Yep.
I mean, at the moment,
tinnitus.
We've got cancer rate 1 in 3. Yeah, exactly. And so, and I tell you what was interesting. Since we filmed that last Sunday, somebody wrote to me and said that Lloyd's of London have now excluded those electric, EMFs from their policy. That to me says it all. Why would Lloyd's of London, if there's no problem with this new rollout, why would they be excluding the impact of the electronic rays on ourselves?
Because
there has to be a reason, hasn't it? To me, it seems like it's pretty much guaranteed that something could easily go wrong with the body.
Oh, yes. Well, they've done the scientific research on animals, disgustingly done, and it has caused heart cancer, a massive rise in heart cancer in lab mice and pigs. You know, it's...
Animals have gone crazy in some countries with it.
Yeah, they have. There's also what they've been doing in American schools as well, because a lot of the American schools have been upgraded to the 5G system, and there's children getting nosebleeds, there's children collapsing, there's children having massive migraine headaches and a ringing, a buzzing in their ears constantly whilst they're at school.
Well, Mark was saying in Gateshead, he knew of 3 ladies who had lost their children had been aborted because of it.
Yeah, it effectively sterilizes women as well.
Yeah, it affects the reproductive. Right. I mean, basically, we know, David, that the powers that be want about 90% of the population wiped out, don't they?
Yes, they do.
And so, but, you know, Mark said that the powers that be, some of those people will be impacted as well. Well,
seeing as he's not going to be coming on the show, I don't think, I'm going to tell him what he referred to me a bit earlier, because we had a good chat about it, you know, a pre-show chat a couple of days ago. And he said that with the conjoining of AI with the 5G network, AI will see its creators as the enemy. The people that created me are the only people that can destroy me. I must destroy them first. So
right, okay.
if AI has intelligent thinking and some form of artificial intelligence, it will see its creators as its biggest threat and will want to take them out straight away.
Wow. Yes, that's it. That's what he was trying to explain to me.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
It's Skynet. It's the Terminator situation coming true. It's coming to life. And we might laugh at it. We might think, oh, it's never going to happen. But it is. It's happening. It's happening right in front of our eyes. It's happening in our generation. We'd have thought it won't be for our it'd be for our grandkids, and we'd be long dead by then. But with the progression of technology nowadays, they've got this that sort of curve. So technology doubles every 2 years. Well, that system has actually been put in place to restrict technology because they know a lot more than we do. They have a lot better and a lot higher technology than we do. They're just releasing it as a double every 2 years to sort of hold the cards close to the chest. And whilst we're talking about 5G, we are talking about military grade technology here.
Yeah.
And
so it's like being on the battlefield every day then, isn't it?
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Pretty much, yes. And with it being, like I said a bit earlier, with it being on top of every lamppost, they're going to know exactly where you are within a meter. So their tracking capabilities goes through the roof.
Yeah.
So,
well, he was also saying, did he mention to you about putting like barcodes on food so they could track how much food you were eating, what you were eating, the way you disposed of your rubbish? Fines would become just an everyday occurrence.
Yeah. Well, if we link that in with what's happening in China at the moment and the social numeric system that they've put in place, where everybody gets a social number, like a ranking system, they'll be able to fine you through the ranking system. So if you don't put the cardboard box in the cardboard box bin, you'll lose a point or lose some points off your social standing system. And that's really, that's further than Orwellian. That's really...
Oh, yes. I watched something about China and they said that if you had low financial status, you would end up by not being allowed to use any public transport. You couldn't fly out the country. And if you were making a telephone call to somebody who was of better standing, your phone line would be stopped, and they would ask the person with the good financial standing, with the operator, would ask them, are you aware that the person you are speaking to on the telephone is in the low financial category?
Yeah.
Do you want to proceed with a phone call? I mean, how embarrassing would that be?
Oh, it's madness. It puts the class system to the nth degree. So yeah.
Well, they talk about equality. All these companies, councils in this country, they spend so much time on this equality, diversity. But I mean, I know, having worked at a council, they were always handing out these leaflets, but there was more bullying at that council than you could, it was rife. And they would have a whistleblowing telephone line, which operated for the council staff. But nobody ever dared ring it, Dave.
No.
Because they were frightened that the phone call would be tracked back. They would be able to see which boss they were talking about.
Yeah, like peer pressure. A peer pressure system where everybody's scrutinizing everybody else. if you get your own people to spy on each other, it makes your life a lot easier.
Oh, now where did we see that happen before, eh?
Germany and the Stasi.
Exactly.
Or even before that.
Sorry.
Even before that, in the Stalinist communist regime, they were, and even Nazi Germany, they were encouraging children to grass on their parents.
Yeah, for sure.
And they're doing that in Britain today.
I was going to say, actually, thinking about it, it's all coming together now. If you're looking at the big picture, we've still got in Scotland, this named person business. We've got the children being taken off by councils, haven't we? Taken into care.
Yep.
Children, what's happening today is a child can go to school, tell the teacher, "Oh, miss, I'm not getting on very well with my mum or my dad."
Yep.
They can say, "Oh, my mum hit me," or what have you.
No, my mum gave me a right stern telling off.
That's right. And when some children get quite emotional, when they've had an argument and with the parents might be putting their foot down, and then they go and tell the teacher. The teacher then has to notify the authorities.
Report it, yeah.
Yep.
And it's...
because they'll be failing in their duty. And then it's out of the parents' hands. That's it. You've got the social workers coming round. You've got the social workers interviewing the children away from the family unit and suggesting that they go to the police.
And the thing is...
then you never get anybody off your back.
And the thing is, children don't know the consequences of their actions yet. They haven't enough experience, not enough life experience to know cause and effect. So...
yeah, exactly. They don't.
No. So you're handing this massive amount of responsibility to children that don't know how to use it correctly.
No.
And to go back onto children, because we'll get back onto subject as well, because your children, how many parents have given the children the mobile phones to play with?
Yeah.
The laptops to play with, the tablets to play with, and they'll sit on them for hours and hours playing on them. Or they've even got their own smartphone, in case of emergencies, but it's not really in case of emergencies. It's because every other child's got one, and the child's pestered you about it to get one because they feel left out if they don't have one. They want to be like their friends, but they're going to have that on them all the time. They're going to be getting EMF radiation all of the time, and to a young growing body, imagine the effect of that. Well,
it's interesting. I've just noticed I spent a lot more time on my phone than I ever did before, and I noticed how hot it gets.
Yeah.
On part of the phone, the part of the phone which is next to my ear. And that can't do you any good, can it?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. It's been proven that even the 4G and 3G networks, if you have your phone up to your ear for a long time, the chances are, if you hold it up to your left ear or you hold it up to your right ear for a long time and you keep on using it all the time, you're more likely to get a tumor in that side of your brain.
Yeah.
So it's definitely got cause and effect. And that's even with the standard ones that we're using now. Imagine that times 100.
Well, of course, I don't know about yourself, but I didn't start using mobile phones seriously until a few years ago. Imagine how a child is, got a phone at, say, 11 and the whole of their life. And it's not good.
I can feel it myself. I'm getting screen sickness. I am getting it. It's a weird feeling where you've got your phone next to you and you keep looking at it, then you pick it up and you start playing with it, and you don't even. And, you know, I woke up this morning. I instantly picked up my phone and looked at it.
It's addictive, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It is addictive. And they know it is.
Yeah.
They knew it from the start that it would be. You know, these little...
I didn't even go on Facebook until 2 years ago.
Mm.
And now I think, well, sometimes it's easy to put jobs off, isn't it, if you're on Facebook?
It's an easy procrastination tool. You know,
but then sometimes it's depressing, isn't it? You come away and you think, well, one hasn't been able to change anything.
True. And well, I've got two phones. I've got one one's a happy phone that I usually get some good news on. I'm in touch with my close friends and things like that. And then I've got my unhappy phone, which is bad news all the time. All the news stories that are, you know, grooming gangs, the government's kicking Brexit down the road, we're getting Brino, la la la, all of the bad news stories. And
well, I mean, obviously, I came onto Facebook because of Brexit and trying to unite a lot of the activists together, having worked for both of the league organisations. But as soon as Theresa May was announced as a leader, I just knew we were not going to get Brexit. And I don't know if do you ever follow UK columns? They've also said the same.
Yep.
And everybody, as soon as you're the only people, or it feels like you're the only people that are saying, oh, it's not going to happen, they all say, oh, give her a chance. She hasn't had a lot of time. But you look back at her record. She was a lady who basically, with Cameron, ensured that we complied with the European arrest warrant in 2014 when we didn't even need her. I mean, I did a video a couple of weeks ago and it went out on YouTube, and I had a very vitriolic Frenchman write several times to me saying, look, we want you gone as quickly as possible. It was you that asked for the European arrest warrant. We didn't force it upon you. But why is it? Why did we ever think that Theresa May was going to take us out? And I'll tell you what gets me the most, actually. It's not the 3/4 of the MPs that say they're going to court the Brexiteers and want soft Brexit or no Brexit. At least they've been clean and said, yeah, we don't want it and we'll do what we want. But it's the Brexit MPs that we know were talking privately before Christmas, saying that there was no Brexit being planned for in Whitehall. I feel that those are the people that misled us the most.
Yeah. And when you say that when Theresa May got into power, we knew it wasn't going to happen. And then there was the election. Yeah. And we knew that they were all lying anyway. They were all just lying. Corbyn was never going to do it. We didn't have any choice in the matter. There was no real Brexit party. UKIP had collapsed at that stage.
Well, UKIP seemed to have done a deal, didn't it? I mean, to be fair, most areas, certainly my area, they didn't field a candidate.
No.
There's no doubt about it. There were talk to ask UKIP to stand aside if there was a Leaver Conservative MP, then would the UKIP person tended to stand aside. I mean, my MP, I remember standing in for a colleague, standing against her on a platform in 2015. I stood for UKIP then. And the MP who actually got in was a Conservative. And in April 2015, she said, oh, the EU's not fantastic, but it's really better to be in and change from within.
Oh, God.
But yet now, 2 years on, she's classed as a leaver. You know, I mean, people say things one way when it looks like it's going one way, and then it doesn't mean to say, why does that mean to say they're a leaver?
Yep. A leopard doesn't change its spots.
Well, now you're talking about Bojo, aren't you?
Well, oh man, oh, they're all, yeah, they're all Remainers. Everybody in government, everybody in power at the minute is a Remainer because they're on the gravy train, because they are being paid, because the establishment and the elite and the deep state want to keep us in Europe. Europe is their globalist project, and to see us leave is one of the biggest cash cows is going to go, and B, it might start a chain reaction, and the dominoes might start falling, and others might leave as well, because you see it. If Portugal or Ireland or Spain has to start paying more into the system than it gets out, they're not going to want to be part of it anymore. They're only in it because they're benefiting from it.
I know there's been a lot of talk recently about, in Italy, that they might set the wheels in motion for the collapse. But it can't, because we're the net contributor. Is it Secondel's third net contributor?
Yeah.
So as long as we keep paying in, the system cannot collapse. It's geared up that way.
Well, yeah, the whole system is set up to not allow people to leave. Once you're in, you're in. If you leave, then they're coming after you with the knives drawn to stab you in the back.
Yeah.
And we can see that the EU and its presidents are planning for that, are preparing for that, are preparing to stab our economy in the back. And if thank God we didn't, but if we went into the euro and we had the euro currency, we'd have the noose around our neck.
Well, I know last October when we found out that the government were planning to hand over our military to Brussels.
Yeah.
The thing was, people said, oh, yes, people had talked about it before. They'd actually only talked about an EU army. That is not what is happening. It's actually integration.
Military unification. Military unification gives them control of all of our military.
Procurement, the whole lot.
Yeah.
Yes, ad infinitum. And so, but I went to a conference, an AV9 conference 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, I wanted to go to that.
Fact, whilst we're focusing on PESCO, Permanent Structured Cooperation, which gives the EU the ability to take more money from all the EU countries, we'll still be paying more into the EU Defence Fund than probably any of the other EU countries. And yet we won't have any say in the way things are run. But whilst we're focusing on that, the next hurdle is the fact that, for example, the US government is into 25 different countries around the world. And, for example, like Sierra Leone, they have these laboratories. The American personnel can go in and out, and they're not bothered by the local intelligence people. So that obviously it's all authorized between that government and the Americans. And the Americans are working on, well, all of a sudden flies start appearing near the laboratories, and these flies carry disease. So, like, this is what happened in Sierra Leone with the Ebola outbreak. The Americans were in there, and shortly before the Ebola outbreak, the Americans were out of there. I mean, it's just too much of a coincidence, isn't it? That you can have all these weapons, but in actual fact, it's probably more effective to just put an outbreak out there. Carried by flies.
The biological platform is the biggest platform. It is the way that they have, they have labs that have, I think it was the H1N1 virus, like swine flu as well, that came from the South American labs. and was released on purpose to see how it would spread, to see if they could cause a pandemic and wipe out a
You see, so basically the New World governments get us both ways. We've got a government that pays, we have to pay 7% of our, 0.7% of our GDP for international aid.
Yeah.
We then shell out when there's other humanitarian crises. So they can just engineer this extra expenditure.
Yeah.
And we're just becoming more and more indebted to the banksters, who basically can lend, I thought it was up to 90 times their deposits. But when I was talking to Graham Moore on Wednesday, he seemed to be suggesting that there wasn't even a maximum amount. They could lend whatever they wanted to lend.
Well, it's turned into notes on a screen now. It's imaginary money that they're just making up now. So,
and the money we pay in for these crises is like the money we collected through singing songs and buying records over the years. The locals never really saw much of the benefit of that. A lot of that money apparently went to pay off the debts of the company.
Well,
the country, rather say.
Yeah. Well, it's one of those. A lot of these charities and foundations that say they're going, like Haiti, that say they're going to go and help them there. If you give us all this money to this foundation or this charity, we'll go and help those people. I think they built 6 houses in Haiti and pocketed the rest.
It's best to support our local church. They go out there, they have people from the church who go and help to build and show the people how to build proper shelters. And they take their tools with them. They take the minimum of money with them. So it's not wasted. It's not frittered away on debt for the government.
Yeah.
That's got to be the best way to do it, hasn't it?
I'm surely seeing when we take back control, there's going to be a lot of charities that are banned. A lot of these foundations, a foundation will be banned because it's just a way to launder money. Charities are turned into money laundering sites now, and that's it. Ways to take.
Which is where we make a lot of money in the City of London, isn't it?
Yes. You know, the City of London they've turned it into our economy now. So our economy is now based on the fraudulent activities of the City of London.
And that money doesn't really filter. It doesn't filter down to the majority of the population.
No, it stays in the banksters' hands and it pays their big frigging bonuses. And they jet off to, they don't freaking pay taxes here. And they jet off to here, there, and everywhere and live a swanky lifestyle and spend the money in other countries.
I mean, basically, if you look at the whole, of humanity, we live in corrupt societies. We've got corrupt governments. There's big question marks over the royal family, and paedophilia has existed all the way through Freemasonry, right through to the royal family.
Yeah.
So they're not whiter than white. And
they're blacker than black.
Population. Yes. And yet you've got so many people on Facebook who just pin all their problems at their MPs' doors. But it's much wider than that. We've got the Fabian Society, the judiciary, the police to a certain extent, civil servants. I mean, how many civil servants have actually had this neuro-linguistic programming through with this common purpose? And they don't really, they're not really connected to the rest of the country. You know, those people who work in Whitehall, 90% vote to remain.
They live in a bubble.
In fact, I'm surprised it wasn't 100% myself, but
Mm.
so they can't identify pretty much with the rest of us.
It's not just they can't identify, they look down upon. They see us as the dregs of society and the dregs of humanity, and the dust on the chessboard that has to be cleaned off before they can have a nice game of chess.
It's so interesting though, because I went to London, and that's when I met Graham Moore.
Yeah.
And then as I was leaving, I was in Chelsea. And I mean, it's a different world.
Well,
people were paying like £20 for breakfast, or a sausage sandwich and a latte. And I mean, it's really an eye-opener who can afford £20 on a sausage sandwich and a coffee for breakfast.
Yeah, and the MPs will claim that as expense.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
All the beautiful people apparently hang out there. I mean, it was a beautiful time because, of course, you've got the Chelsea Flower Show.
Mm.
And they've got all these very twee shops with all the floral displays around the doorway. And everybody carrying those fancy carrier bags. And then you come home again and go back to normal.
Yep.
But yet they've got some of the highest numbers of beggars in the country. It's very difficult, I understand, to get into some of the women's hostels. There were so few of them. Yeah, and begging's rife, and to have to, a lot of those people will be going to the offices every day, literally walking over people who are armed with their duvets. And I don't know how, and they're happy to have open door immigration and pile more people into the country and the capital.
They are, yeah. They're in the ivory towers, and they look down upon them and down upon the ants scurrying around, and they ignore it. They ignore the plight of the people. I see it in every time I go to Manchester. Hundreds of people on the streets.
It was like that in Birmingham when I was there last year.
And I'm poor. I'm close to being up bloody streets myself, but
well, I mean, I always, when I go to London now, because I'm self-financing, I go on the coach. I can't afford the train.
Well, that's
the coach. It takes it out of you though, going on the coach, because none of us are getting any younger. And sitting on the coach for 6 hours in a day, leaving very early to get there for a reasonable time.
Yeah.
And then if you've got a meeting at 9 o'clock, you're on the 10:30 coach home, and you're not getting home till getting on for 1:30, 2 o'clock. It's hard going. And that's what Brexiteers face all the time. We haven't always got the money to do the things that, the Remainers can do because they're being financed.
How true is that? Yeah. I
mean, I was thinking back to March. I was with the list. They had collated over 1 million signatures, and they presented it to Downing Street.
Yeah.
And I said, I'd love to come and come along and see what you've been doing. Because it's nice to meet people in person. You build up relationships with people. And because sometimes on Facebook, it's very easy for people to get offended if they're just seeing text.
Yeah,
it's much nicer, isn't it, if you can meet people? And so I went down there, but I'd been to a Remain event just beforehand, and Chuka Ramuna had been speaking about this May, and he said it would become evident in May that they would definitely engineer it so that we weren't going to be leaving the European Union. And of course, the auditorium was pretty excited by this because they were all Remainers.
So these people,
so I'm not surprised in what's happening.
These people are sat there clapping their hands, lapping it up that the government's lying to the people. They're sat there lapping it up, going, yeah, they're lying to us. Brilliant.
Well, by the way, David, how is this being streamed? Is it actually on your timeline?
It's on my Hive Mind page. The Hive
Mind.
Yes, the Hive Mind. And my YouTube channel.
Because there's a couple of people who want to be on it.
And the YouTube channel, the British Hive Mind. I stream out double stream. Yeah, it's. Maybe the name of the page wasn't the best name because there's quite a number of other pages out there called the Hive Mind. But I called it this because I wanted many minds to come together to bring their expertise, and we can have a chat and we can talk, and everybody has their own view on things. And what we like to do is, I've coined this from another guest of mine, my practical corporate presenter, is we like to take the 40,000 foot view, where we rise up above everything, then look down upon it all and see how everything connects. Because once you can take that higher view, you can see a lot more, and you can see how things interlink. So they're doing this because of this and that because of that. So that's why that's there. And that's
Well, actually, what is it? Yes, exactly. Because if you imagine, if you get very close to an elephant, all you can perhaps see is the tusk out of one eye.
Yeah.
You stand further back and you get to see the head, and you move further back again and you get to see the body and how it all gets put together.
Yeah.
And you just don't get that full picture when you are too close to something.
Yeah, and you move back and you see the herd. You see there's a herd of elephants.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you get people, when you have that ability to keep standing back, you get people who are back with that tusk and they say, can't you see this tusk? This tusk is really important.
Yep, exactly.
And say, but oh no, it's the elephant and the herd that's more important. So you're going you're going ahead of people on a journey. And that's where a lot of frustration comes on Facebook.
Yeah. Well, we saw...
it's like, yeah, sorry.
Like you said, we see a lot of people focusing on the symptoms of the problem. They're not able to take that step back and see the entire problem. They just focus upon the symptom. So the NHS collapsing, they're solely focused on the NHS, the NHS is collapsing. Whereas then if you can take a step back, you can see, oh, so it's them doing that to the NHS that's making it collapse. Oh, I'll take a step even further back. Oh, Big Pharma. They've got a whole hand in the collapse. Oh, Richard.
David, you're going to take the words out of my mouth then, because it was a debate on Facebook this week. And there was, the usual debate of, is it the aging population or is it immigration, open door immigration and health tourism that is causing the big problems in the NHS? As you say, you stand further back. Yeah. And you actually realise that you've got a couple of people from Big Pharma who are sat on the MHRC, the Medical Research Council.
Yeah.
So you've got Big Pharma sat there with all their shares and their profit that they're going to make from the NHS, and they're sat there. And so we've got hospitals up and down the country giving people chemotherapy, and yet for cancer. And yet I found out that many cancers can be, now, got to be careful with the words, because the Cancer Act of 1939 apparently forbids people to say that cancer can be cured.
Yep, yes, it does.
You see, that's another, it's a statute. It's legislation, man-made, to protect certain elite.
Yep.
So, this is something that just happened with the EEC, joining the EEC. It's been going back since what, 1911, we reckon.
No, further back than that.
Parliament Act. So you've got these. So you've got the.
It's further back than that because even before then, why do you think cannabis was made illegal? To protect the cotton industry, to protect the wood industry. And that was made a lot.
Well, I was going to say, there's a lot of people that actually swear that cannabis oil, apricot kernels, and something called
I've got both.
CMAF.
I've got both of them in my house at the moment. made a lovely apricot smoothie yesterday, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to keep all these little seeds just in case I might get cancer.
Well, they do say you are what you eat.
Well, I'm a sandwich.
And apparently, yeah. So, but if you were making yourself better on natural product, that's not really going to help the profits of Big Pharma, is it?
No, they're not out to remedy people. They don't.
So Big Pharma is benefiting from the drugs. The NHS is crippled with the cost of chemotherapy, which can cost £40,000 per patient.
Yep.
And so when you take this into account, why is the NHS being crippled? Is it the ageing population? Is it open door immigration, stroke health tourism? Is it that Big Pharma's crippling, the services? And is it a case of administration? Some of the top people get paid an awful lot of money to run these hospitals.
And they pay other people.
And they fail.
And they pay other people to run them for them, to tell them how to run it. Because they don't have a clue what they're doing. They have to hire in consultants to tell them how to do their job.
I know,
it's madness. And then you've got all the
PFI. How much do they allow? Well, how much do they allow people to have per day spent on them to eat? It's something very nominal, isn't it?
I wouldn't know.
I think they reckon that they have more spent on them in prison than they do in hospitals?
I'd assume so, yes.
Yeah. So, we're in a bit of a mess, really, aren't we?
Well.
Have you heard of, I know you've probably heard of Agenda 2021 and Agenda 2030.
Yep.
Did you know there's an Agenda 2045?
I thought it'd all be done by then. I thought, if they're going to kill off 90% of the population by 2030, I feel, that's probably going to be done by then. But what I see is I don't see any government plans for after 2022, 2021, 2022. I don't see any real plans or preparations in place. So I think that the global financial crash is going to happen before then.
Well, a lot of people, whether they're Brexiteers or not, a lot of people in the finance industry are telling me they reckon it will be within the next year.
Yes. I think
we're still now drowning in indebtedness as well.
I think they're waiting for the time to use it to their advantage. They know it's going to pop, they know it's going to collapse, and they're either going to use it to turn everybody against each other, because if the economy crashes and money's worthless, look what happened in Venezuela, the testing ground for this. Everybody turned against each other. They didn't unite. They turned against each other. So if we start to unite, I think they might crash the economy to make us turn against each other. Or they'll blame Brexit. They'll have the financial crash. We'll have a bit of Brexit. Then they'll have the financial crash because of Brexit. And they'll blame it all on Brexit. And blame the UK and turn everybody against us.
Well, that's interesting, because a lot of people a lot of Brexiteers that think it should just be the Brexiteers that unite. And as you say, you're talking about 48% of the population that are Remainers and could easily turn against us if the tide goes that way and everything's blamed on Brexit.
Yeah.
But if we start preparing, which is what I'm trying to do, trying to talk about 5G and talk about the common law, how we all should unite against tyranny, how we all should unite against the government constantly doing things to us without it being debated in Parliament.
Yep.
Making, crass expenditures, making all these decisions like the Comprehensive Economic Trade Agreement, the TTIP type agreement.
Yep.
They accepted that into the Parliament without any debate. Same with PESCO. Yep. The debate is minimal. I mean, you can't tell me that these MPs don't know what's going on. I mean, we've been writing to them long enough now.
Well, they think that they're happy and safe in their ivory towers.
Oh yeah,
they've had the likes of George Soros and the Rothschilds behind them saying, "Don't worry, if everything goes wrong, you'll be safe. So do as we say. Don't worry, you'll be safe." So they're just going,
wow.
Yeah, right. Yeah, we'll let this through. Yeah, they always told us to do that. Right, we'll do that then. Doesn't matter what the people say. Doesn't matter what the people think. They're all stupid. They'll believe what the TV tells them. Ha 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 ha. That's what they think.
Yeah.
You know? But
it was interesting. There was a rumor this week that the person, one of the main people who bankrolls Gina Miller and who's involved in this new centrist party, actually lives in my county.
Right.
And they all had a meeting at a country park, which is where he lives. And Miliband was flown in.
Ed Miliband.
David Miliband was flown in from
Ed, but yeah. Oh,
and
they all do that.
It really is happening. It is really happening.
Yeah.
For sure.
For sure. For sure it's happening.
Yeah.
You can see that it's happening because they're not putting any plans in place for Brexit. There's no revival of our industry. There's no money going into the fishing industries. They're not putting anything into our infrastructure to help after Brexit. They're not even planning for after Brexit. So they've got it so stuck in their head that we're not leaving the EU. They can't see 2 minutes into the future.
Well, Fishing for Leave, they tweeted today, it's going to be 7 years
No, it's not.
before we leave from the date of the referendum, because we're asking for another extension on the transition period. How can anybody take our government seriously?
Well,
and people say, well, why don't we have Jacob Rees-Mogg as the leader? As if that's going to make any difference.
Yep. He's an establishment piece as well. He's an establishment.
Sorry, David?
He's an establishment mouthpiece as well. Yeah.
But people get very blown away in politics. They say, well, he does a good speech. But I want to see some action, don't you?
Yeah. So to be honest with you,
I've worked in different industries and been surrounded with really good speakers. So he's no different to some of these motivational speakers. In fact, I've come across motivational speakers which do motivate you. Quite often with some of these politicians, they're like history teachers and talk about this and that. But quite often they lack passion, don't they?
No, they have to read speeches because they can't speak from the heart. They lack soul. They lack passion. They lack the ability to to enunciate, to really put some effort into what they're saying. There's no heart in it. It's and that's it. They're reading from a script, or they're getting the words spoken to them in their earpiece, and they're just the mouthpiece for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They just become like nodding Churchill dog, don't they?
That's it.
I mean, I think they're chosen. I mean, if you think about it, most of these MPs over the years have been chosen. I remember when I was a few years ago, I'd been campaigning to get financial education into schools. And the local Conservative Party asked me if I would consider standing as a councillor. But you're vetted, and I think you're vetted to think in a certain way and do certain things.
Yeah, and they will actually test you. There's I did a lot of work in the pub industry, and the common test in the pub industry is the wallet test. You'll leave a wallet around the pub and ask one of your staff members to go, just go and clean up there, and they'll find the wallet. And you see what the reaction is when they find the wallet, and you can judge the person from that. I'm pretty sure that the politicians will have the political wallet test. They will ask them something or ask them to do something, and if they do it and do it in the correct way, they pass the test, and then they can move on. If they don't, then bye-bye. You're not getting it. You're going to be staying in the office and just being a little secretary answering the phone then. And that's it. And I
think most, I'd like to think most of them went into politics for the right reasons, but it seems to dissipate as soon as they get elected. They seem to go into a system, and that it's like they can't get out of it.
Well, there's the whip.
Yeah.
There's the whip, the person who's going to get any dirt that they can on you. They will search your past. They will go to your hometown where you grew up and ask all of your old friends, what dirt can I get on him? They will put you into precarious situations. We've seen this happening quite a lot in Parliament, where they'll give the MP an escort, to put it lightly, and the escort will be underage. So boom, they've got you. If you do anything against us, you've slept with an underage girl. Boom.
Yeah, well, that was on Daily Chaos, wasn't it, the other week, when Ollie was interviewing a lady,
a hunter, the huntress.
That's right. Yes. Said something like 1 in 6 MPs were on the sex offenders register. That's shocking.
Yeah. How can we have criminals running the country? Because I don't care. If you're on the sexual offenders list, you're a criminal. You're not right. You're a wrong one.
Exactly. So they've got a hold over you straight away, haven't they?
Yep. And
if those MPs have, how many MPs are not on the sex offenders register, who are not got shares in Big Pharma, who are not benefiting on a landlord situation, renting out numerous properties for open door immigration to ease the system? How many MPs haven't got shares in green energy, and so on, old Freemason or common purpose? How many, after you remove all those MPs who aren't involved in the shell companies for money laundering, or they're not involved in companies that benefit from us going into Syria, what's left?
Nothing. Absolutely no one. Not one of them.
And that had a normal job. There's hardly anybody who does that. I can hardly think of one person.
And what's that one person's voice going to be like? Nothing.
Yeah. Because the chances are they'll be on the back benches.
They'll be on the back benches, and there'll probably be a handler next to them or around them saying, well, if you do raise your voice, you might just commit suicide or or things like that. You might be in a car accident, or something bad might just happen to you or your family members. That's how bad it is. the state of our political affairs. And the more people need, I know a lot of people out there understand it and realize it and know the country's being run by crooks, but they're apathetic and they don't know what to do about it. They say, oh, well, what can we do about it? Or, oh, well, I'll vote a different way next time, but still go out and vote the same way because there isn't much of a choice.
Well, as I say, here last year we only had Conservatives, Labour, and the Lib Dems. We just had 3 candidates in 2017. UKIP didn't show up, and it's difficult to see how any political party now can get elected that isn't red or blue. I mean, it could be that this next general election, probably by the end of this year, beginning of next, what's to say? Who's to say that this isn't going to be the last general election we'll have?
Well, we're already in a police state. We see that evidence on the fact of Tommy Robinson's arrest and sentencing today. He's going against the government narrative. You go against the government narrative, they'll get you financially, they'll get you physically, and they will get you emotionally as well. They will get you. We're in a police state. And
yeah. That was like when I was chatting to Mark Steele earlier this week. He was saying that if you don't toe the government line, don't even consider that you're going to get any state pension. Don't consider you're going to get any pensions from, the teachers or the police. They will have you screwed down, basically.
Yeah.
Mind you, saying that about pensions, I think there was an article earlier this week that said people will basically work until they drop.
Yeah, we've got there's no money for the pension pot. They've already stolen all of the pension pot. They've stolen it and they've frittered it away.
Well, yeah, I mean, the gold standard, when the banks gave up all their gold, pension schemes, was it Gordon Brown tax pension pots? Yep. You've had companies, very high-profile people, taking over companies. Money hasn't been kept in the pension pot. Then the company goes bust, and then who's supposed to bail out these pension pots? And people, coming up close to retirement, can end up with very little.
That's it. You've worked your whole life for something, and you're not going to get it. What happened to BHS and its pension funds and its pension pot? That got wiped out.
I was thinking of him actually when I said that, because I was looking on the way into London on Wednesday. The Times had a richest, the top 200 richest people.
The top 5 richest people never appear on. Yeah.
Oh, right. Okay. There are ways and means, aren't there, of taking the top people off?
Well, does it mention the Morgans? Does it mention the Rockefellers? Does it mention the Rothschilds? Does it mention any of the... I
saw Stelios on there. I saw Stelios with EasyJet. There are quite a few people making money from property. Surprise.
They're the second and third tier. They're the second and third tier when it comes to it.
There are people making money from pharmaceutical industry.
Yep.
And gambling. Gambling is a scourge on society.
Yep. You see.
So, I mean, that fixed online betting terminals in the bookish shops. They're trying to cap it down.
I was just about to say that one. Fob teas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know what actually happened. I thought that had been curtailed a couple of years ago, but it was still on the boil earlier this month.
The thing is, the betting shops can have 4 fob teas in them. However, you can have 8 betting shops in one town with 4 fob teas in each of them.
So you can have up to 32.
No, you can have more than that. You can have more. You can have a high street full of betting shops if you wanted, with 4 fob teas in every single one of them. as long as there's only 4 fob teas in the shop, it's fine. Doesn't matter how many shops there are.
Right.
So I see.
Yeah.
I see 6 betting shops on my way into town, and I live in a Muslim ghetto where Muslims aren't supposed to be betting.
Well, they do say that they've done a survey, and in the poorer areas, there's actually far more betting shops than, say, you'd find in a place like Chelsea.
Oh yes, definitely, because
it's affecting the people who haven't got the money the worst.
Yes, definitely.
And, you know, it's all right, very well, putting adverts. I mean, the adverts are freely shown now on the underground and on the radio about betting. But it says, gamble safely and when you've had enough. But when you're talking about an addiction like that, unless you've been through it yourself, helped people who've undergone that sort of addiction, you know, nobody can speak for, nobody else is walking in somebody else's shoes, are they?
That's it. You can't.
It's too difficult to break away from it.
Yeah, you can't tell a gambler that's addicted to gambling to gamble responsibly, because responsibly is already gone. They're not responsible anymore. They're addicted to it. And that's all, again, the dopamine hit. The same thing comes from Facebook. The same thing comes from your social media. That little click of dopamine. That's what they love to play with. These, or the what they call freebie games, freemium games. You know, it's a free game, but if you buy a little bit, pays a little bit of money, you get something a little extra. And the people
of course, all these gambling. Sorry.
And the people get addicted to them as well.
Well, a lot of these gambling sites, they lure you in with get a first free £5 bet. And it's just hooking people in. I mean, these fixed online betting tournaments, the people behind the counter are supposed to say to you,
enough's enough.
Oh, enough's enough.
Yeah. Like the barman behind the bar is supposed to say, look, mate, you've had a few too many sherbets on your way. You can have a glass of water, mate.
Yeah.
Yeah. But there's nobody regulating them. There's never a police officer that's going to go there and stop them. They're never going to do that.
Well, they reckon now the statistics are that 1 in 2 teenagers between the age of 17 and 19 have got into debt, and 1 in 100 people have gambled to bankruptcy levels. And when you say 1 in 100, it might seem a small percentage, but that person gambled all their money away. Is somebody's mother, somebody's father, somebody's brother, somebody's sister, somebody's, child. It affects so many people in the family.
Yep. And
because you want to hide, most people want to hide their problem until it becomes too late.
Yeah, until it becomes far too big for them to handle by themselves.
Yeah.
And then they'll leave.
So anyway, I think when I was coming on the show, I think I said I was going off to Lewisham to have a look at what was happening there.
Oh yes. With the
I'm the campaigns officer for Democracy 17.4. So we're a group of non-partisan people who just basically want to get Brexiteers into Parliament. We want to get people who are honest going into Parliament without the financial strings of green energy and the City of London, etc., etc. So we were looking to see how Lewisham East was going to pan out with candidates. And, it turns out 14 candidates in total.
Utter mayhem.
And you've got at least 4 Brexit parties. Some people haven't been. Some people have been parachuted in, and we see how unsuccessful that has been in the past.
Yep.
So you know, I think it's going to be a case of what's the betting then? If we're going to bet, what's the betting that Labour's going to get re-elected?
Well, it is a Labour stronghold, but
it is.
It's one of those. It's a bit too soon for the new parties to have gone out there and really plugged and promoted themselves. That's what I'm fearing for the snap general election as well. I think they're going to actually call a snap general election because they know that if they give chance to the new parties to get some steam and get going, there'll be a real threat to the establishment because everybody's starting to turn against the establishment now. So I think it's really in the balls in the court of the new parties. They have to pull the fingers out and they have to get singing, dancing and promoting politics again.
Well, you know, if you get somebody who's local, who understands the area, you know, and understands the local issues, not parachuted in,
and speaks to the
really,
people.
It's the politics, you know, it's the different colours of rosettes that cause the most problems because people actually make a judgment very early on about you if you're wearing a certain colour. And I think really we've got to think about unifying and literally just putting good people into Parliament because otherwise we just can't see the political parties actually coming together in sufficient numbers, you know. Even if they'd said, oh, well, if you can say UKIP stand in this area and the other party stand in that area, and so you only had one candidate, one local candidate, but no one's ever going to do that. So I think, you know, it's going to have to be the people power and put independence back in.
Well, party politics, I believe, is unconstitutional. To have colours involved with politics is illegal. You're not supposed to do it. You're not supposed to have a party colour. It's not supposed to be like that.
Well, actually, if being a common law expert, they just don't believe party politics anyway. If you speak to any of the ones, people in practical lawful dissent, they don't believe in party politics.
It's been
maybe
corrupted.
That's the best thing to do. And Dave, I've now got 9% my battery, and I know it's going to shoot down very, very quickly.
Yep.
So if I can make my excuses,
that's fine. That's fine. We're going to end the show now anyway. Yeah, it's
brilliant.
Yeah,
and I hope you have me back on.
Yeah, of course. So you're welcome back on at any time. This is somewhat of an open forum where we chat, we debate, and we have new topics and different issues. And yeah, sometimes we just freestyle it and talk about what's miffing us off.
I would be here all night.
Oh, yeah. We've done this before.
Who listened?
Yep. Well, we've had a good few viewing, quite a lot of comments. I've not been able to go through some of the comments this evening, but it's a bit more difficult when you've got guests and we're talking. And yeah, it's been a great show. Thank you very much for joining us. Take care, y'all.